Thank you very much for making a day to us, GBS TV. It's yet another time that we have the talking show where we have problems within the society and solutions towards those problems. Right now, there's a very big debate upon psychologists and the society at large. How do we go about self-control? Psychologists say that this aspect of self-control is not actually a measure that can actually be used to counteract the desires that man has. But right here on Talking Show today, we are going to be discussing about desires and self-control. And today we are checking on self-control being a safety device for the youth to actually utilize their full potential and their young age and the energy of which they have. So thank you very much for making a date with us, also for the audience. I'm so happy to see you. Today we are joined by two of, can I say, beautiful and handsome people. And to begin with, you can introduce yourselves.
Hello everyone. Hello. I'm Jacqueline Modoni from Nairobi. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
First of all, thank you for saying I'm handsome. And my name is Kelvin Mora from Kahawa West, aka K West.
Okay.
Yeah. And enjoy the show.
Thank you very much. Let's clap for Jackie and Kevin. Thank you very much. Yes, I'm your host, Henry Minor, and this is Talking Show once more. Thank you for making time to be with us here on the Talking Show. As we discuss about the society, right now there are a lot of things of which are happening. And more importantly than the economy of a country growing, the aspect for us to develop self-control is actually very important. And not only self-control, but at an early age, how is it that you can be able to take control of the desires of which we have? And they say, if you don't have a desire, you're not a human being. If you don't have a desire, you're dead. Is that true? Yes. Do you have desires?
Yes.
Maybe we can hear from you. What are some of the desires that you actually have?
For me, the first desire was when I was in Form 1, I wanted an Infinix, but probably I didn't know where will it come from, but I just wanted it. Mm-hmm. The second desire was I wanted these shoes, that they came that for modern shoes. Probably they were together with Infinix, and I wanted them the same time. Don't want to know where they will come from, but I just need them. Mm-hmm. So those are my desires, and I have more and more. They're still growing.
So your desires grow bigger and bigger?
Yes.
Okay, what about your ability to meet your desires?
My ability to meet my desires is that if my parents probably not be able to help me, I have to help myself to be able to control my desires through mind education.
I once met a person and they said, if they desire something and they can't be able to get it, they go to the extent of stealing. Has that ever crossed your mind, or has it ever happened?
No.
Okay, thank you for being frank. We have another one of the audience who can also speak to us on that aspect.
Okay, hello.
Hello.
I'm Steven. I come from Durai. For me, let's say my desire even shocked me. When I was in high school, I used to have this desire of becoming the most famous, chef. That desire, even when I looked into the real world, I saw myself exploring, but the ability to meet that desire didn't succeed because I really failed in high school. So I just saw that it's impossible. So let's say that since now that desire which I had not to become a chef didn't succeed, I had now to find my own way. Like now going to maybe a small school there at our home, of which really succeeded. But it's just a first step. But I'm sure I will meet my desires.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Let's clap for him. I look forward to eat a plate prepared by you one day. Yes. Jackie and Kevin, I don't know what you have to say about this, but many people, when they hear about the word desire in the first instance, they think of it as a bad thing. Some people think of it as a good thing. From where you sit, what do you think about desire, and how can we go about this aspect of desire?
The first thing about desire, in order to live a happy life, your desires shouldn't be more than your abilities. Because if your desires are very high, let's say for example, if you are earning 10,000 and your desires are 30,000, obviously you'll get upset, you won't be comfortable with what you have. But if you earn 10,000 and your desires are up to 5,000, you'll be comfortable with that, and you won't have issues with life. You'll just be comfortable and just be happy. So for me, desires are good when you know your abilities, but when you don't know your abilities, it's pretty ugly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Kevin, she speaks about if you're earning 10,000 and then your desires should be 5,000. Possible or impossible?
It's possible. And first of all, yeah, I mean, like, desires are good, but you also have to plan on your desires. Like what she has said, like, you're earning 10,000 and your desires is 5,000. Yes, you can make it. If you go, if you plan your ability so well, you can have your desires in time. Yeah. So it also calls for patience. Yeah.
Okay. In front of us we have a very beautiful, elegant car, and the only aspect is that when we were picking it from the car bazaar, they told us one thing: it has no brakes. Very good, but no brakes. Who wants to ride with me in this car? Then the aspect of life is also like this, and I pick it up from Kevin, where he says that it's very good for you to have desire. Desire is like a driving force. It's an engine. It's like a dream. It's a vision. But if those desires don't have a control, then it's like a car of which has no safety device, of which are the brakes. So we have desire and we have self-control. As we said, then desire is like an energy. It will help you move forward, and it will help you kind of achieve what is it that you want in life. But if you can control it, then the end result is the same. It's very good. The same with the youth. The youth have a lot of desires. Okay? Not meaning that these desires are equally bad, but they are also very positive and they can help them achieve. But the problem is, all these desires that the youth have, how do they control them? At what point do you step on the brakes? At what point do you know that here I'm supposed to stop? Because, for example, let's check the correlation between desire and self-control. We have the engine power and the brakes, okay? If the engine power is greater than the brakes, what do you think will happen? If the engine power is more greater than the braking system, the most likely thing will happen is that there's going to be an accident, okay? And it's very dangerous. But now, think vice versa. What about if the brakes can overcome the engine power? That means the braking system has a bigger ability than the power of the engine. Then at that point, you can be safe and you can drive on a higher speed. Much in fact, the secret behind a very fast car, who can try? What's the secret behind a car that has the highest speed? I'll tell you the secret. Many people say it's the driver, many people say it's the fuel or something like this, okay? But the secret behind the highest speed, or a car that can actually drive at the highest speed, is the braking system. Because even though my car has a very good braking system, then I can drive at 100 kilometers per hour, 120 kilometers per hour. But what about if my car, and I know the braking system is not good, at what speed would you drive? 40 kilometers, 20 kilometers per hour. Okay, you understand that? It is the same with the youth. If the youth can actually know how to nurture the safety device, self-control within them, then they can actually achieve the potential of the energy that they have. You understand? But big problem is, most of the youth, they're feeling energetic, they have all these desires, then they don't know where to put a stop, okay? I'll show you the last one. And especially now in relation to desire and self-control, okay? People who have bigger desires than their self-control, they are always discontented. These are people who are never satisfied with anything. And as long as they're not satisfied, what happens? Complain a lot. After that, a lot of misfortune happen. And then also, now let's think about people who have self-control bigger than their desire. Then there are people who are always happy, they're always thankful, and they're always kind of satisfied with what they get. You remember about the story about the 3 lepers? Yes. Who, for the very first time, entered into a hotel and they were actually eating this. So I want to come back to you. There are instances in your life whereby the desire was greater than your self-control, and what were the results of it?
Yeah, there was a time back in high school. I had too much desires. I wanted, you know, in school you see somebody with different types of revision books and they're expensive, and you can see that your mom cannot provide. So I kept complaining, asking mom, do you want me to pass or not? My friends have this. So I was complaining a lot. In the end result, if I complain a lot and not read a lot, obviously I'll just fail.
Okay, Kevin?
There was this time I wanted a phone really bad. So like I had to tell my mom, I need this phone. Like I needed there was this new Samsung back in high school. It was the latest. It was J5. So I wanted that phone very badly. So and I told my mom, I need this phone, like because I could see a lot of people with it. So like when my mom couldn't get me, she would tell me like, wait, I'll get you. Then I got tired. Then I started complaining, and the end results, let's say I was...
Yes, we are talking here. No,
okay, the end result, I even wanted to steal.
Okay.
Yeah, to steal my mom's money and save and then buy, but I didn't. So I just...
You wanted to steal, but you never stole.
I never stole.
Okay, can I tell you one story about myself? Actually, I don't know for Kevin, but maybe he has some limitations to what he can actually speak. There was one time I had a very big desire to go out and party with my friends, okay? That was immediately after I finished high school. And at that moment, I was living a double-sided life. Before my parents, I'm very innocent. You understand, eh? Does it apply to you? Yes. Before your parents? Very innocent. What about when with your friends? So I was also like this. And, you know, it was, I can't remember the exact holiday, but it was on a public holiday. And I didn't have any cash. And that time it was, you have to search for, you know, a certain amount of money so that at least within the contribution, you're also contributing, okay? So I ended up stealing. And, you know, maize, eh? Yes, I stole a 90 kg bag of maize, sold it, and yes, the end result, my parents can speak better because, yeah. So we are speaking like this because actually this is talking show, and these are things of which are affecting the society. People who end up in prison are the same. People who end up killing other people is not because of anything else, but it was a certain desire that they truly wanted to meet. And at this point, we can talk about happiness. Many people say, because I don't have something, I am unhappy, okay? But think about it deeply, just a little bit more deeply. You are unhappy because you don't have something. What does that mean? You are unhappy because you cannot meet your desires, okay? But what about people who have now the aspect of self-control? They can be able to suppress those desires, then at the end of the day, they can become happy. Now, let's think about children as they grow up. we have the ability of a parent. Let's say my parent can be able to provide for me up to a certain extent. And then as the child is growing, the desires of this child, okay, at a very small age, like 4 years, all they ask about is candy, okay, and biscuits. And then as they grow bigger, then they start asking like for Infinix, like Kevin is talking about, okay? Yes, Monica also talked about Infinix. Then the more a child is growing, then the more the desires of that child is also growing. But what do you think about this aspect? Sometimes the desire of that child will overcome or will outdo the ability of the parent. Then at that point, what do you think the child will think? My mom doesn't love me. She spoke about it. When she has a so big desire, then at that point, she thinks that her parent is actually not caring for her. At that point, there's a lot of unsatisfaction, unsatisfied desire. And because of this, many relationships between the child and the parents are actually not okay. Not because of anything else, but just because the child does not know how to go about the desires of which they have. Last week, I met with one parent, and then she was telling me about her child, who happens to be the last born. I don't know why, but last borns seem to get everything that they ever needed. Yes. I'm talking from a point of experience. But here comes a worry about the parent. Anything that this child is asking for, they give. So at one point, this child wanted to become a chef. I don't know, maybe it's a coincidence we're talking about this. So she bought a cooker, she bought pans and all these kind of things. Then all of a sudden, the dreams of this child changes. Now he wants to become an artist. And now she has to provide, paint and brushes and something like this. But right now, do you know what? The dream has changed one more time. And still, the parent has to provide all these kind of things. Then how do you think the relationship will be at the end of the day? The dream, the desire keeps on changing, and then the parent has to provide. So this parent was saying, right now, I think I'm almost giving up. I can't be able to match the desires of my child. And this is it. Now, it even becomes more worse for the parents who are able to provide for their children in a bigger way. Okay? Because if this child was asking for a bicycle, then at one point, the parent can be able to provide. But one day, this child will ask for, like, how BMW? You understand, Yeah. So even for the parents who are able, okay, the wealthy parents who are able to provide for their children, up to a certain extent they can do. But there comes a time that the desires of this child outgrow the ability. And therefore, it is a very dangerous aspect if people don't understand this. And this is one thing of which is very important in our lives. If we are able to understand desire and self-control, then for sure we can be able even to nurture happiness inside of us. Why? As I said, many people have this aspect. I am unhappy because I don't have. Even right now when you ask people, maybe pocket money, your pocket money is over, Cindy. Are you happy because your pocket money is over? No. Very unsatisfied. Why are you unhappy? Because there's something that you really want to do with your pocket money. Okay? So it's not about the money. It's about the desires of which you have. Okay? So nurturing self-control from a very young age is very important. And I'm not saying that even us, we cannot have the aspect of self-control. Even among us, we can be able to nurture this aspect. And that is why, even if you may lack, but your desires becomes smaller, you can be happy. Okay? Yeah. As long as you are able to suppress the desires by having bigger aspect of self-control, then you can be able to actually achieve happiness. And this brings a question. Many people talk about self-control. Also, I believe in high school, in many places, churches, forums, they always speak about, oh, please have self-control. Have you ever heard about this?
Yes.
How did you go about it and were you able to achieve it?
it's difficult to have self-control because, you know, you see your peers, you want this, you want that. So when people just speak about self-control, it's just but a matter of a few words, but no actions. So for me, self-control was just words for me, not any actions. So I couldn't control myself in anything. So for me, I can say, for you to have self-control, first of all, you need to be patient enough. Because if you are not patient, like for me, I'm very impatient. I cannot wait for something for a long time. So then something else in self-control, you need to understand. When you have the two aspects, you understand and you be patient, you can be able to have self-control.
Kevin,
Yes.
I know your teacher at one point may have told you, be disciplined, okay? Don't do this, but naturally and literally on the ground. What is the situation?
Well, okay, first of all, I'm disciplined. Kutoka kwa mom.
Okay.
Yeah, but having self-control was one of the hardest thing I had. Like, I never used to be patient of something. Like, if I want something, I just want this thing right now. Like, I must get it because I see friends with it. I see even people who you never expected to have those things, they have them. So you're like, kwani ni mimi peke yangu sina? So I must have this. But in order for you to have self-control, you need to practice patience. Even also God blesses those who are patient. God can see that this person amengoja sana, acha tu nimbariki nayo sasa. Yeah. So
Both of you are talking about patience. How do I nurture patience? Or how do I have patience?
it's just a mindset. You have to practice it. Like even first of all, you have to look at the background of your family, and you have to understand your parents. Like if they tell you wait, you just wait. That is patient, and it's also patience also brings even something that you never expected, something better. Yeah.
Okay. From the group, anyone who has ever attended a forum, or have you been told to have self-control? And how did you go about it? Frankly, they told you to have self-control, but they taught you how to have self-control. Silence means they told you to have self-control. Yes, I can see there's one. They told you to have self-control. Did they teach you how to have this self-control?
Okay. Hi guys. I'm Jennifer.
Yes, Jennifer.
See, hizi vitu za self control hatukuzaliwa nazo. So like ati umeenda forum na mbogo na self control bad. Hii kitu kuzaliwa nayo. So kabla we activate kwa life yako inakuwa ngumu. Sasa ilikuwa forum. Tulikuwa back in high school alafu anatuambia tuko na self control. So mimi nilikuwa najiuliza nitakuwa je na self control na sio kitu nilizaliwa nayo na hawatufunzi. So bedhe kwa na self control, hey, hiyo kitu ni ngumu walai. So mchezo. Asante.
Okay. Yeah, and I believe Jennifer may be speaking on behalf of many, okay? But let's check. The result of not having self-control, number one, is having a weak mind. For example, just a desire to eat, okay? I'm just giving an example, okay? There are so many desires I know people have. But the desire to eat, then anytime, anywhere I feel like eating, even if it's class time and something like this, then I just eat. You understand, eh? Then from that moment, I develop a very weak mind. And especially people, and this one, I think parents should be very careful in this aspect. When a child is asking for anything and then you're always providing, then that child actually develops a very weak mind. In the aspect, anything I ask for, I should be given. It's the only this that I heard from my mentor. He told me like this. I have 2 children, and then he said, if your children ask for 10 things, give 5, deny 5. I'm not denying because I hate, okay? And You know, and many parents have, let me give, and especially right now, you know, the children we are bringing up, they're called mommy and daddy. Sindio? Yeah. Mommy, daddy is crying for this, so you give everything. But it's a very negative aspect of parenting. Because just because a child is asking for something and then you give, at the end of the day, they develop something that we're calling their weak mind. They don't have the ability to actually overcome the aspect that they're even lacking, or it's not possible to always have something. So that is the result of having a weak mind, number one. Number two, acting impulsively. Umeenda supermarket, and then you have some money, sindio? And then kale ka desire, sijui, between me and my wife, she's far much better when it comes to shopping, because at times she prepares beforehand. But me, when I'm going shopping, I just go, okay? So most likely I'll do impulse buying other than a person who has planned. You understand, eh? And then the more I do impulse buying, the more in terms of the money spent and all these kind of things, then I'm not able to plan for my life well, okay? So it is the same. People who don't have self-control, they do a lot of things impulsively, okay? Even without them knowing. Just because they felt a certain desire and then they act on the same situation right there and right then at the end of the day, they end up having a very miserable life. And crime. Why do people end up committing crime? Why do people steal? Why do people commit robbery?
They're not satisfied.
Their desires are too high. And also when people end up in prison, then, and I hope you have a chance to go out there and even listen to the stories of those people who are behind bars. It's because they never learned about this aspect of desire and self-control. They just live, just wake up and then take up life as normal. But since you cannot control the power of desire, you end up to commit sins to fill it up, okay? So here comes a very big word, sin, committing sin, okay? So what is sin? Sin is when you're trying to cover up, or is when you're trying to meet a certain desire. Do you understand?
Yes.
Yeah. So committing sin, for example, stealing. Why? There's a desire of something of which you didn't have, okay? Committing adultery, what does it mean? There's a desire that you're trying to, fill it up. So that is actually why all these vices, you even mention it about suicide, you mention about drugs, alcohol, gambling, and especially the mentality of gambling, okay? All these aspects come from desire. And at the end of the day, then you commit a lot of sins just trying to come with aspects of this. Now, what are some of the causes of lack of self-control? Maybe from the audience, and maybe Jackie. Jackie has already spoken about one or two, but maybe we can hear before I give my causes of lack of self-control. Why don't people have self-control?
People lack self-control because they want to satisfy their needs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yani unataka hiyo kitu vibaya sana.
Mm-hmm.
That's one cause of lack of self-control. The other one, I think, lack of patience.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's very true, because on number one, I have, fulfill your desires. Just because I want to do something, then I just do. You understand? Eh? Because of this, I lack self-control. And Kevin is very right. That's the aspect of, because I feel to do something and I just do, then at the end of the day, you're not able to achieve this aspect of self-control. For example, when we're talking about the car and the braking system, the engine and the braking system, okay? Therefore, we can be able to see the braking system has already broken down. You don't have any brakes. Just want to do whatever you want to do, okay? And then number two, there's something that we're calling overprotection. This is whereby your parents are providing everything. Like anything that you need, it's being provided for. Because of this, you lack self-control. Maybe I can explain this in a way whereby Jackie was talking about books. Because she desires to have these books, and if they're not provided, then she will start nurturing. Okay, my mom may not have been able to provide, but it is okay. Okay? Then from that moment, an aspect of self-control starts to develop. Other than the person who asks for anything and then they are given, then they don't even have the baby steps of having self-control. Number 3, lack of power of contemplation. Contemplation is whereby you should think deeply. And by the way, you guys, do you believe in love at first sight?
No.
Yes.
No.
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 Yes. No. Maybe I don't know whether you're speaking from experience, but no, there's this aspect. I loved this person the very first time I saw this person. Sindio? Yeah. Then I don't know, but people end up in a trap, only to realize that this person snores at night. You understand? Eh?
Yeah.
Yes. Then these things, if you are a person who just acts on the first thing without thinking deeply about something, then most likely you're going to fall into danger. Okay? As I said, just because I see someone and then I get angry just from the very first reaction, okay, then it means I don't have an aspect of self-control. And this will also end up in a very big detrimental thing. That is why I said impulsively. Impulsively means without thinking about it deeply, okay? But we should have the aspect whereby let's think about something beyond what we can see, okay? Let's take some time and think beyond. Okay? Yes, my parent is not able to provide. Then sit back and think about it. Okay? I have this certain desire. If I go about accomplishing this desire, what will happen? Now you can think about it. And that way you can be able now to overcome the aspect of not having self-control. And number 4, we are talking about a materialistic world, whereby, you know, right now, even in terms of success, and I don't know, Jackie, maybe please tell us, what is your definition of success? Because many people think success is, having a big machine, in terms of driving a big car, having a big house. I don't know from where you sit. What is success?
According to me, I can say success is, for me, being in a place where I'm just comfortable.
Okay.
Doesn't matter what others view about me. But if sitting down and reading a book is comfortable for me, that is success to me.
Okay.
Doesn't matter if another person sees reading as boring. I don't consider that. And then considering the opinions of other people, I rarely listen to negative opinions. So for me, having everything that I need, just if I'm provided for, I provide for myself. I'll just be happy with that.
Okay.
And as long as my health is just perfect, that's the best thing for me. Yeah.
Kevin, in terms of a materialistic world, where do you think we stand as a country and as a society?
What I can say for me is that as a country, the country is developing, and the desires will always be there. But if someone just had to plan what he or she wants, we will able to get there, or someone can be able to get there. So you have to plan and work for it. If you work for it, God will bless you, and things will just come flowing in your life, just like that. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Last but not least, there is number 5, a wealthy life. Okay. And I don't mean that having wealth is anyhow bad. Okay. But there is an aspect whereby if we're exposed to only a wealthy life all through, then you can be able to understand. When I said, when a child is asking for a BMX, they're provided for, okay? When they're asking for an Infinix, they're provided for. One day they will ask for a BMW, okay? Yeah, so I'm talking about this aspect. People who are actually living within that, can I call it the sugar candy mountain? Like utopia world, in that high level of world, then also they lack a lot of self-control and they're not able to nurture this. So how is it that we can have self-control? And I know in high school and in learning institutions, they give orders and punishment and rules and regulations, okay? So these are some of the aspects that we've come across that are actually giving self-control. For example, number one, they told you, do this, don't do this, sindio?
Yeah.
So, do this and don't do this. Did it help you in school?
Yes.
Yes. I can see some people say no, some say yes. Do this and don't do this. To some extent, you are able to follow. But did you follow all?
No.
Please wake up at 5. You understand, eh? So, yes, the do's and the don'ts, they actually help you nurture self-control. But the biggest problem is you're not able to nurture self-control to the fullest. There is a limitation of what actually you want to do. And I don't know why, but, and especially after these do's and don'ts, then they put something we call punishment. Okay? Were you ever punished because of something that you didn't do?
Yes.
And you ought to have done it?
Most of the
Yes.
times.
Okay? Then after you got the punishment, were you able now to nurture self-control?
Yes.
I'm speaking about this because this is the trend that we see people actually following. They think that if they punish their children, they'll have self-control. Okay, this is very true. They will have self-control, but also limited. And especially people who use punishment as an aspect to make their children have self-control. The children develop something we call the rebellious mind. Okay? So you kama umeona mtoto anasema si unichape iishe. You understand? Yeah. Let's just get over this. You just do it and then we'll get over this, okay? Then they form something we call a rebellious mind. So yes, they're able to nurture this aspect of self-control, but at some point it collapses because of the rebellious mind. After this, then we have the law. Okay? Who doesn't know that if they steal, they go to prison? Who doesn't know? You know, there's such kind of a law, sindio? That if you steal, you go to jail, sindio? Yes, but do people steal?
Yes.
Then is the law a good aspect that we can use for self-control?
No.
But many people think, let's keep the law. Let's strive to keep the law. Then as long as they're trying this aspect, at one point, the law does not become like a safety device. And then they commit the crime and they end up in prison. And a last one is that also people have now self-control that actually comes from the mind. Okay, you understand that? Yes. Now this is the best. Self-control that is self-initiated. Self-control that is coming from your mind. You remember when I was telling you about thinking deeply, okay? Yes, so people who are able to contemplate and think deeply about their life, deeply about their desires, then they can nurture self-control from their minds, from themselves. Okay? And then this now can be able even to supplement and able to have an accomplished aspect of self-control. I love what Kevin said, practice. Many people go to the gym. They practice a lot to build the muscles of their bodies. You know? So also for us, we have to practice a lot in terms of nurturing self-control. Number one, how is it that we can be able to nurture self-control? She spoke about something that is self-evaluation. Please evaluate yourselves, okay? For example, I have 1,000 shillings and I'm in need of, what is it you're in need of? Yes, now. New shoes. How much does the pair of shoes cost? 2,000. But you have 1,000. What will you do? You understand, eh? Evaluate yourselves. It's very important. Yes, I have 1,000, but the shoe that I want to buy is 2,000. But is there a pair of shoes that can cost 1,000? Yes. You understand, eh? So once you evaluate yourself, then these are aspects whereby if you practice this continuously, then you'll be able to see that the aspect of self-control is actually coming out in a very big way. Number two, please try the things that you don't like to do. For example, there are some certain types of food that you don't love. Sindio? Yes. But is it a curse to eat them?
No.
You understand, eh?
Yes.
How many people love washing dishes? Very difficult, sindio? I don't like. But for you to nurture self-control, practice to do the things of which you don't like. This way, you'll be able to nurture self-control. Okay? Yeah. But if you are the people who end up doing only what you want to do, if you only want to sleep, then you go and sleep. Then you're not able to nurture self-control. Then even at that time that they're telling you, go and wash dishes, do this. Yes, you may not like it, but have an aspect whereby just try to do those things. And then at the end of the day, you'll be able to come out with a very big bond of, having self-control. There's one more thing, and especially in talking show or in mind education, we talk about bending the heart. Everyone, please raise up your hand. Just your hand. Okay? Imagine your hand with no joints. Then you want to eat. How will you eat? Your hand has no joint. Not even one at all. How will you eat? Can you eat?
No.
Then it is the same in life. Same in life, I mean, like, there are so many things of which we really want to do, but God created us in a very miraculous way. My fingers have joints, okay? So they're able to bend. They have the function of bending. My hand also, there's the wrist here, there's the arm, the elbow here, it's able to bend. Because of this, I can partake in eating. I can write. I can do so many things, because of the aspect of bending. Then it is the same. You must learn how to bend your heart. You understand?
Yes.
Yes, this one is so difficult. This one I don't want to do. This one. But learn to bend your heart. If you bend your heart, by this I mean giving up to the things that you see, it seems as if it is too difficult. This is actually what I mean, okay? Yeah. Doing the things of which even you don't seem like you want to do. But continuously when you practice this aspect, then you also nurture self-control. And then number 4, think of others before yourself. Hello?
Hello.
Think of others before yourself. Then through this way, you can be able to nurture self-control. Okay? Then continuously practice on these things. How many times when you really want something, do you consider yourself or do you consider your parents? Who comes first? Yourself, eh? But from today henceforth, also consider parents. Yes. Other than you just seeing things from your own perspective, also see it from your friends' perspective. Think of others. No, in the Constitution it talks about national values like unity and sharing. But when I check within the context, the society that we have right now, how do you think? Are we thinking about others? Let me ask myself, am I thinking about others? Do I put others first or I put myself first? As long as I'm putting myself first, remember, I'm the one who is trying to fulfill my own desires. And because of that, then the society at the end of the day does not come out very clearly, okay? So these are some of the aspects of how to improve the aspect of self-control so that now it no longer just becomes words, okay? Yes. There are things of which we can practically do. There are things of which we can learn in terms of changing our mindset, and then we can be able to achieve the aspect of self-control. So I would love to give a few minutes to Jackie and Kevin to tell us about your life before listening to this mind education, and now that you've listened to this mind education, how is life and how are you able to go about the things? And especially I have the book Navigating the Heart. I believe you have had an experience of reading it. Please tell us how is the difference before and after?
Since I joined IYF, the first time I came here, about self-control, I've been able to be patient enough. For example, let's say when we go for lunch and the lunch has been delayed, you won't just go. You'll just be patient and just wait. So even the small things, you know, self-control will come from understanding the small things in life. So let's say maybe you are going maybe to wash your clothes and then you find someone else in the tub. You just have to wait. You won't just be arrogant and move them away.
Okay.
So patience comes from just practicing small things, because you cannot You know, a journey of 1,000 miles starts with a single step. So the small things that people don't care about, those are the most important things. And since I came, I can say that I've been able to understand my parents more. Because back at home, in order for my mom to make me understand, if she comes with the money that she has gotten, she gives the money to me, all of it, and tells me, prepare for supper, for breakfast, for lunch, everything. So with the amount that I have, even when I try to budget it, I can see that there is nothing that will remain, no balance.
Okay.
So from that, I've been able to understand that even if my mom tells me that I don't have money, I can be able to understand because I see that she budgets for everything. Like now, I was calling my dad, asking him to give me 2,000. Then he sent me 150. So it was kind of... But from navigating the heart, I've been able to bend my heart. Because now, like the way you are saying, that if your child asks for 10, you give 5. So I don't know mine if it's 5. But I've been able to understand. I've not been upset. I just understand him.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, Kevin,
Okay.
the handsome man.
Thank you. My life before I joined IYF, so I used to complain a lot. Hadi mama ananiambia, wewe si ukuwe lawyer. So like I used to complain a lot. Like I never appreciated. If she gives me this like 100, mami itoshi, mimi nataka 2, so I'm like hapana. So like when I joined here, I came to see like people, they used to appreciate, like unapata kuna mtu akona trouser moja akiletewa na mzazi ingine ana appreciate. I was like, hey, na mimi nakuanga aje lakini. So like even right now mama hata akipiga simu, I'm like, okay, I'm sending you 200. I'm like, okay. She's like, tebu rudia tena. And I tell her I'm okay. So like when I joined here, I learned to appreciate the little things that our parents offer us, and you get to have that patience mode. Like ikikwambia this time sina, you understand. Ikikwambia end month, you understand. So like I squeeze this complain sana. Yeah, so like
I'll put it to test and see. Okay.
Yeah, so like squeeze complain sana na si argue with my parents a lot. Like hata squeeze mom, she's like, I think hiyo shule inakusaidia sana. Juu kirudi huko utakuwa mtu ako like with standards. Juu kitambo I used to complain and complain. Kwa mimi nakumbuka nilikuanga nilikuwa somebody, but I appreciate and I thank the IOF for teaching me the mindset and how to be patient with something.
Okay.
Yeah, and have that self-control.
Yeah, let's clap for them. I don't know whether there is anyone with a question in regards to the aspect of desire and self-control. If you have a question, kindly you can shoot. And as we do this, please remember the mind education, and especially if there's anyone who wants to learn more about the aspect of self-control, we have the book called Navigating the Heart. It goes for 1,000 shillings, and you can give us a call, you can SMS us 21144, and we can also get in touch with you. So once more, if you really want to learn about self-control, desire and self-control, we have a book called Navigating the Heart that actually explains about this in a very deep manner, and it will give you a very insightful aspect of how you can be able to deal with the desires of the humankind that never end. So at this point, I would love to say thank you very much, even for you giving us your personal stories. I know it doesn't just come out very easily. I believe that even out there, if you really want to become part and parcel of the program, 21144 is the SMS line. If you want to become a guest, you can also SMS us. If you want to become part of the audience, then also you can SMS us. Once more, I repeat, 21144. On Facebook, GBS Kenya, YouTube, GBS Kenya, Twitter handle, GBS Kenya, and we will highly appreciate to be part and parcel of the solution that we are trying to solve in this aspect. So thank you very much, and from me, until next time, it's bye-bye, and remember, you are unhappy because you cannot meet your desires. Okay? So if you just make your desires just a little bit smaller by having self-control, then you can live a very happy life. Even appreciating 1 spoon of sugar becomes something very good. Sindio? So thank you very much. See you until next time. Thank you very much.